Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming to the Film Endowment Workshop today. We are super excited to have a special guest speaker for you. Ciciley Hoffman is a global film and television costume designer, a wardrobe stylist, image consultant, fashion editor, and cat lady. Hey. Woo!
Here I am. I am going to talk to y'all about why you need to hire a costume designer if you're making a film or a video or a television show or any of that stuff. And as Robin Williams said in one of my favorite movies, The Birdcage, but let me tell you why. So a little bit about me that she didn't cover. I've been a costume designer for over 20 years. I'm from Nashville. Yes, I am from Nashville. I went to Hume Fogg, and then I went to Oberlin College, which is in Ohio. I double majored in theater and German and graduated with honors. I've designed nearly 24 features, several TV series, commercials for national and international brands like Verizon, Whisker, Tums, Tennessee Titans, Chevron, and many more. I have lost count of all the music videos that I've done because this is Nashville and I do one every 2 to 3 weeks, as well as short films. I've done many 48s. I've done short films for brands, for friends, for fun, for not so fun. And I've lost count of all the film festivals that have featured my work, but some notable ones are the Cannes Film Festival, the Nashville Film Festival, of course, Berlin, Calgary, Seattle, Louisville, and Edinburgh. I'm also a high-profile wardrobe stylist and image consultant, but I don't name drop those clients. I create Halloween costumes and have made a 13-foot tall Katrina dress for Dia de los Muertos, a massive built-in set of angel wings for Parm crisps, a pink eye protector for cows, and I mean actual cows. Apparently pink eye is a huge problem for cows, and I made this mask that goes over their eyes and has a mesh that so they don't rub their eyes together with other cows and spread pink eye. Who knew this was a problem? And when the guy called me about that, he was like, hey, so can you make like a big mask? And I think he means like, I'm like, yeah, sure. And he's like for a cow. I'm like, that's real funny, dude. He's like, no, I'm serious. And they sent me a 3D printed cow's head. It was this big, and it was just on my porch the next day. So here we are. I made a giant bird crone for Treasure Trackers, which is on HBO Max if you want to watch it. It's a Halloween, Christmas family film that's kind of like Hocus Pocus and the Goonies mixed together. It's about some kids trying to find a treasure. And I've just recently made a huge deer for Shiloh and Bros. They do, they're a YouTube, whatever you call a YouTuber. I'm not cool, guys. But I made this giant deer for them. I volunteer with Fashion is for Everybody, which is a charity committed to normalizing inclusion in life through the art of fashion, which was started by my late friends, Kimmy Jones and Alicia Searcy. I also volunteer with Multicultural Events of Middle Tennessee. I am a cat lady. We have 5 cats, purely through the cat distribution system. I'm a proud union member, I am an ally, and I am an advocate. I love to travel, cook, bake, and read. I am in a lesbian book club with the Tello folks. Tello is a streaming service for lesbian and queer content, and I've done 4 movies with them, and we have a book club with the writer-director, her wife, the first AD, some of the actors. I am not a lesbian, so I'm the diversity hire. And we are currently reading The Nightingale, which is great. I just think this is funny. One of my friends sent me this, what society thinks I do, what my friends think I do, what I think I do, what actors think I do, which is the most accurate slide, I might add, what directors think I do, what I actually do. So, come on now. First things first, I'm going to talk about how costume designers help tell your story, contribute to visual congruency, have critical relationships with your talent, which you will not have, avoid anachronisms, and save your ass on continuity and budget. However, the first thing you need to do as a filmmaker is delegate. There's a reason why all the guys in this picture have different jobs, even in The Mob, if you've ever seen Goodfellas. The most important thing I can save you is time. How is that? Well, I know more than you. So does the production manager, the cinematographer, the production designer, the gaffer, the sound mixer, the key grip, hair and makeup, stunt coordinator, and dear God, The line producer knows more than you. The line producer knows more than me as well. I want to make it abundantly clear. All of those other positions that I have listed, they know more than me as well. There's a reason why movies that are written, produced, directed, and shot by the same guy suck. You need to delegate responsibility, and you need fresh eyes on stuff. Costume designers research the fire out of scripts and pour through source material to prepare, particularly if they are period pieces or require niche knowledge of aspects like armor, clothing costumes, or feathers and scales. We also know the script like the back of our hands. I read a script once for comprehension, again to chart it by hand, again to chart it digitally, and again to ensure that the digital copy is final and correct, as that is the one that will be shared with the team. Not only do my good charts save you from having to do that research, they track the days of the script, along with shooting out of sequence, as well as continuity that has to be flawless with things like violence, uniforms, weather, time, or something as simple as a character spilling a drink on their clothes. We also know what kind of fabric that costume should be made out of to ensure that we can wash it and not have to buy doubles, saving you money. Not to mention our sketches and mood boards help everybody be on the same page about the piece that we're making. Also, if someone says they're a costume designer and they cannot sew, they are not a costume designer. They might be a wardrobe stylist. There's nothing wrong with being a wardrobe stylist. But if you cannot design and create a costume, you are not a costume designer, period. I'm not saying that to be ugly. I'm just saying that because it's true. Also, sync on set is the bane of my existence. If y'all don't know what this is, it is a computer program and an app that purports to read a script and tell you where the costume changes should be. It's a good backup. Like if you want to chart and then use sync on set and then look at it and be like, maybe I missed something, but if you do it 4 times, you won't miss something. Sync on set, however, doesn't understand stuff like characters go swimming. You need bathing suits. The AI of sync on set doesn't know that. So you can easily miss stuff like that if you don't know what you're doing and you're trying to basically create a shortcut. So this is what one of my charts looks like. This was for a holiday rom-com called The Christmas Writer, which comes out on Tello in a couple weeks. So it is the scene number, the cast member, the look for that cast member, whether it's day or night and what day or night it is in the script. Pieces is things that I own. Actors own is things the actor owns. Because a lot of times, especially in indie film, I have to rely on the actors to bring some of their own stuff. If it's something really simple that everybody has, like blue jeans, sneakers, things of that nature. Also, no going in. If you are on a SAG film and you use actors' clothes, you must pay them per piece, per day. And if you're an actor and you're a SAG actor, make sure you know that because they will try to shirk you out of that money. $15 per piece per day. Yes.
Regardless, like shoes versus a
Doesn't matter. Shirt, a tie, socks.
Yeah.
Sure. Then FX props, stunts, etc. And that's mostly, in this particular case, because this is a rom-com, nobody gets shot. Nobody, gets thrown downstairs, things of that nature. But that's where I put that stuff, so I know I need a double of that because we're going to shoot it out of sequence. So I need to have the shirt where you've been shot and the shirt where you have not been shot. And the strip board is a strip board. It's a tool that first ADs and directors use to say what's happening within any given scene. And I basically so I write that from what I gather is happening in the scene. Like Noelle reads from her latest book at the Pinewood bookstore to an audience of mostly middle-aged gay women. And then I compare that to the strip board from the first AD and the director to make sure that we're talking about the same thing. And I'm not lost somewhere in the script. Also, I will die on this hill. Watches are props. They are not costume. I will always talk to props. We have conversations. I make sure I like the watch. It matches whatever the person is wearing. It matches their station in life. If they're a librarian, they're not going to be wearing a Rolex probably. But it's a prop, just so you know. Okay. And I also use Pinterest. This is what my Pinterest board looks like. Those are titles of movies and commercials and stuff like that, but you can see it's pretty extensive, like, 115 pens, 110 pens, stuff like that. That's to give a specific visual reference of, I want to buy this shirt. I want to buy this pair of pants, to powers that be. This is also instrumental in helping producers and line producers understand the budget that wardrobe needs, because they don't think about that. They don't really think about us at all, to be honest. But if you think about a character's outfit, at a minimum, is a top, a bottom, a shoe, and an accessory, like a belt or glasses or a purse or all of the above. If you have all of those things and they all cost $25 each per outfit, you're looking at between $100 and $150 per outfit per character. So when you write a script that has 10 zombies, we're not even talking about your main characters, your main storyline. You got 10 zombies. That's $1,500, like that. And yes, you can reuse things like jeans, shoes, and we do that. But there is a gap between the conversation where a line producer says to me, this is what our budget is, and the conversation where I say to them, this is what your budget has to be if you want to make this film the way that it is written. That's always a fun conversation. Okay, we will have relationships with your cast members that you will not have. James Atchison once said, along with doctors and hookers, we're the strange breed who says, hello, take your clothes off, to complete strangers. There is an intimacy between actors and costume designers and hair and makeup artists. It's because we talk about the colors that speak to the character, not the actor, the character. And please, for the love of God, do not ever say to a costume designer, I would never wear that. Right, Brandy, let me introduce you to a concept called acting. Anyway, what pieces in the closet mean something to them? You have pieces in your closet that mean something to you. My mother gave me this necklace. This ring was my great-grandmother's. All of this contributes to more fleshed out, authentic, believable characters, and happier, more grounded actors who will give you better performances and strengthen your story. And you will never know, as a filmmaker, a writer, producer, director, line producer, you'll never know about those conversations between me and them. And that's fine. That's yet another reason why it's important to delegate, because an actor will not have that conversation with you. They will have it with me. And I'm not telling anybody else shit. Uniforms are a huge reason to hire a costume designer, especially if it's a period piece. That picture from Dunkirk is not a complicated one. That's a very simple military, because those are grunts. When you start getting into generals, lieutenants, admirals, things like that, all of the stuff, all of the epaulets, all of the pins, they all mean something. They are all updated every decade or so. So there's a huge difference between the way an admiral looks right now today in America and the way that an admiral looked in France in 1939. They're very, very different. And most people won't notice. Most people don't know the difference. But if you really want to ground your film in reality, particularly a period piece, it's so important to hire somebody who knows the difference between those two things. And it can also be a fantasy uniform, like in Alien. And yes, I picked the picture with the cat. The cat lives, by the way. Or Star Trek. A costume designer came up with those. Or even Ghostbusters. A costume designer made those. Those are all custom. And if you think as a director, you can make a custom Ghostbusters outfit and come up with what that design is going to be, good luck. I promise you, you're not going to do it as cheaply as I will, as quickly as I will, and as much considering the actors. Because I would have conversation with those men before I started building the costumes about, where do you need pockets? Do you have a fabric preference? Where do you want it to sit on your chest? Where do you want the elbow pads to be? Across the bone at the bottom or up here so you can lean back? Which do you want? Or they can be, this is County Rescue on the right. Those are EMT uniforms. And this is where costume design can be kind of fun. So technically, this guy right here, Keller, rest in peace, he is not following uniform rules. His shirt is untucked, and his buttons are not done all the way up. That's because that is the asshole in that show. So that's why I did that. And the one on the far right is the most stringent. So that's why his shirt fits the best. The one with the undershirt that's tie-dyed is the clown. So I had to find ways to differentiate these people who, for the majority of this television series, are all wearing the same thing. If you don't have a costume designer, you're not going to be able to do that. And that, again, helps the actors know their characters, know how they feel in their characters' bodies. All that stuff makes a difference. Visual congruency is a huge thing. Filmmaking is a team sport, like dodgeball. We meet with production designer, cinematographer, props, hair and makeup to ensure that the overall visual information makes sense to the story and the audience. You don't want a character in My Cousin Vinny dressed like someone from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, while on a set built like the ship in Alien, carrying around props from Labyrinth and hair and makeup from The Thing. It's a team sport and possibly the most collaborative art form. Filmmakers need to let department heads do their jobs and listen to their expertise. There's a reason why I do this, and I know what I'm talking about. You want me to change your carburetor? No way. I'm gonna call somebody. I'm gonna call Bobby down at Christian Brothers. I can't do that, but I can do this. And if you try to wear all the hats or be jacks of all trades, the work will invariably suffer. You will spend more money, you will waste more time, because you don't know what you're doing. And I'm trained to think around corners as a costume designer. Not a mechanic, but a costume designer. So that's why you hire us. All of this is pre-production. And when we're doing all of this stuff, we haven't shot a single thing. So films are made 3 times, when it's written and in pre-production, when it's shot, and when it's edited. Pre-production is critical. It is time-consuming, and it's best left to people who are trained to do it in each of the lanes on the highway. Imagine that making a film is a highway. Production designer, costume designer, line producer, first AD, director, first AC, all that stuff, props. We're all on the same highway, but we all have lanes. If you try to do the whole highway, you're going to burn out or make crappy art, or both. That photograph, this will come back later. Those are sketches from Dracula, which Aiko Ishioka was the costume designer. She was my favorite costume designer of all time. And that sort of muscly looking one will come up later. World building is the biggest part of the visual aspect of film, and sound for that matter. Without it, films don't work. We all know about world building that's really well done in massive epics like Lord of the Rings, comic book universes, Wes Anderson's entire oeuvre. You know a Wes Anderson film when you see it. You know it without the sound on. You'll know it like that. Here are some films that nail it in costume, production design, hair, makeup, and set to create a real world in films that are everyday, and some of them are fantasy. Do the Right Thing was Spike Lee's debut film. If you've never seen it, watch it. He was able to create an entire world of very different people in a neighborhood in New York. And being able to get this many people in a shot is incredibly difficult. And he does this many times throughout the film. And you can see by their costumes which parts of the neighborhood all of these people come from. 2001: A Space Odyssey. As a general rule, I'm not really a Kubrick fan because he mistreated his actresses. However, if you watch that film, you will be entirely engulfed in it. from the sound design of how the, I don't want to say monster, computer antagonist, I guess, from the beginning, which is where we see the apes, and those are costumes, they're not real apes, to the spaceship, to what's maybe Earth. Great film. It's really long, and there's a weird acid trip in the middle. You can skip over that part. The Substance. The Substance was my favorite film of last year. If you have not seen it, it is spectacular. The Substance is about a woman who is pushed out of her job because of her age, and a younger manufactured, I don't want to give too much away, a younger manufactured version of her takes her job. I will warn y'all, as much as I would kill her for that coat, like literally. This whole setup is incredible with this. You can tell what an asshole this guy is just by the pattern on that suit. Demi Moore looks incredible. This is an homage to The Shining. There are several in The Substance. This is the younger version, older version. I will tell you, if you're squeamish, do not see this movie. It's Cronenberg level body horror. It's spectacular. Phantom Thread is Daniel Day-Lewis's last film, although apparently he's coming back for another one. And of course I picked this one because he plays a fashion designer who meets a woman who becomes both his muse and his wife. And it's set in the 50s in Paris. And they have completely captured that with this wallpaper. You can tell what time of year it is very easily. Just this beautiful setup of them. Impeccable tailoring on her dresses throughout. You can't make a movie about a dressmaker and not have impeccably tailored clothes. This party, I just love this. It's clearly the aftermath of the party. Everyone else is gone. The band is sticking around, but there's nobody else in the world. I love that. The Joy Luck Club, if you've never seen, is based on a book. It's a fantastic book and movie. It's about 4 women who immigrate to America and their 4 daughters. So it jumps between the mother's lives before they immigrated to America and now the daughters' lives in America in the 1990s. It flawlessly jumps back and forth, not only between these 2 time periods, between each of the women. So well done. Tearjerker, big time. The Sopranos. Everybody gets caught up in the violence of The Sopranos and the writing, which are both notable, shall we say. But that costume designer kicked so much ass, it's not even funny. Everything that these men are wearing, especially the gangsters, is what has now been termed quiet luxury. Those leather jackets, these are thousands and thousands of dollars. And you wouldn't know that just passing them by. This pinky ring, thousands and thousands of dollars. Because these guys have cash all the time. And they want to have their cash on them. They don't trust anybody. They don't trust banks. They damn sure don't trust the government. And you can't show up with a bunch of money you stole and be like, hey guys. The house, the way the house is decorated in the back, all of this food on the table. And look at Carmela's jewelry. These are diamond tennis bracelets, diamond earrings, sapphire necklace, diamond necklace, and her cross necklace, which also has a diamond in the middle. This is a Versace dress that's worth $3,000. And it's never really mentioned. It's just part of the world. They did such a great job. I loved that show. Everybody knows about Superman, Lord Vader, big costumes. And I think when people think costume designer, they think Marvel characters. They think Mystique or whatever. There are a lot of iconic costumes that you would know at a Halloween party that are just clothes. Mary Poppins, if you're from Nashville, Tennessee, this is Ernest. If you don't know who Ernest is, look it up. Jim Varney was an incredible actor. Learn about Jim Varney. I'll just leave it at that. The Grady twins from The Shining. Pam Grier. Yes. Marty McFly. And that's a really easy, if a man ever calls me and says, I don't know what to wear for Halloween, Marty McFly. Done. Like that. The original Willy Wonka, do not get me started on that remake bullshit. Cassandra from Wayne's World. Wayne and Garth are also easily done. Garth wears a band shirt, flannel shirt, jeans, Chucks. Wayne wears black hat, black t-shirt, jeans, Chucks. Done. But you have to have the mullet. Cruella de Vil. The new one of that is also great, costume-wise. That one is great. But I prefer Glenn Close, just in general. This is a newer one. This is from the film Weapons. This is Aunt Gladys. A lot of people dressed up as Aunt Gladys for Halloween this year because that movie just came out, just started streaming on HBO like a month ago or something. But I love this. It's hideous. Beetlejuice, easy. Or Jack Skellington. Just flip the lines. Dorothy, big one. If you're a 90s girl like me, Cher. Know that one anywhere. The Dude. Squid Game. When Squid Game first came out, a lot of people dressed up as that for Halloween. Very easy. Candyman, which still scares the shit out of me to this day. That's the scariest movie I've ever seen in my life. Other notable horror guys are like Freddy's costume is just a striped sweater. It's a Christmas sweater. Yeah, it's red and green. It's just covered in blood and soot and crap. Why am I blanking on the name of this movie? Thank you. Good Lord, what is wrong with me? Easy costume. And especially if you can get a fire behind you. And Holly Golightly. Everybody knows those. And these are just clothes. Just clothes. It doesn't have to be Captain America. I can give you Captain America. But if you're making a film that's just about people, these are the kind of looks and characters you need to think about. And a costume designer can help you get there. Hidden depths in films. I apologize for the Family Stone pictures because that was me taking them on my phone while I played the movie on my computer because I couldn't find just a picture of what I wanted. So that one is, see this ring that Diane Keaton, rest in peace, is wearing? You find out, spoiler alert for this one, you find out in this movie, it's a Christmas movie. It's Christmas time and you find out that the mom, played by Diane Keaton, has breast cancer and is dying. The denouement is a year later and it's a new Christmas. And the daughter is wearing her ring. I saw that movie in the theater with my family and my husband and turned to everybody and said, "Mom's dead." And they said, "What?" I was like, "Amy's wearing her ring. She's dead. She wore that the whole movie. And now Amy has it." So anyway, that's why my family won't go to the movies with me anymore. And this is Black Panther. There are colors here, green, black. This is coming through kind of pink. This is red. They're the colors of the Pan-African flag. That was done entirely on purpose. Red is a Chinese color for good luck. So in Crazy Rich Asians, that's why she's wearing this when she meets her in-laws for the first time, because she needs all the luck she can get. The famous Halloween mask, which everybody always calls him Michael Myers, he is called The Shape, just for the record. That is the name of that character, The Shape. This is a William Shatner mask. It was the cheapest one at the store. They bought it. They tore off some of it, cut the hair differently, spray painted it white.
Oh my goodness.
Ta-da. In Star Wars, Luke is dressed in what's meant to look like a gi because he is a pupil, whereas, oh my God, yes, thank you. I'm a nerd, but I'm not that much nerd, guys. Obi-Wan Kenobi is dressed as a monk because he is a master. There's all kinds of stuff like this in films. Little winks that the costume designer has done. If you watch Schitt's Creek, there's an episode where Alexis brings a bag of clothes and gives it to Twyla. Twyla then wears this dress at David and Patrick's wedding. In Marie Antoinette, which is obviously not set in modern times, there is a pair of Converse shoes on the floor. It's meant to indicate how young Marie Antoinette was and how, I guess, let's go with stupid, since she ended up losing her head over everything. But they left it in there as kind of a In The Matrix, all of the sunglasses that the main characters wear when they are in the Matrix, they're all custom. And they did that to show how when you're in the Matrix, you get to decide what you look like, what you wear, so they're all indicative of what each character chose for themselves. Parks and Rec, anytime you see Ron wearing this shirt, he got lucky last night. They talk about that in the show. It's a whole thing. And if you've seen Baby Reindeer, all of these characters, whose name I also can't remember, all of her patterns clash terribly because she's crazy. She's absolutely bonkers. Also, that's a great show if you haven't seen it. It's on Netflix. It is difficult to get through. There are some pretty massive trigger warnings associated with that show, but it is beautifully done, incredibly smart, and well worth your time. Sometimes the best costume design is that which you do not notice at all and do not think about because it fits the story and the characters and the production so well. I'm willing to bet most of the people in the room have seen this movie. I'm willing to bet you've never noticed that throughout the movie, Will only has 4 shirts because he's very poor. His friends all dress alike because they don't have anybody else. This piece of shit wears this stupid scarf every scene he's in. And I hate it, but it's brilliant because for some reason it makes him look slimy. And I can't even put my finger on, like, why does it make him look slimy? But it does. And then you've got Robin Williams' character who almost always wears wool, textured patterns because he is warm and inviting and comfortable. And he's listening. Absolutely brilliant. And the fact that nobody in this room ever thought about that, ever noticed it, means that costumer did a bang-up fucking job. Disasters. This is what happens if you don't hire a proper costume designer or don't hire one at all. Not only will you waste time and money, your characters are going to look like shit and destroy your environment. This causes a loss of suspension of disbelief, and audiences will not be engaged in your work. They will not be entertained, and they will not be experiencing the full breadth of what the movies have to offer us. Big mistake. Big. Huge. All right. The room is just trash from top to bottom. I think we all know that. Obviously, the costumes are terrible. And there's no continuity with the costumes, and it's just, the whole thing is a train wreck. This Catwoman, are you kidding me? What is going on with the ankle of this boot? See how it's like hanging over, but then it's open-toed? Oh, no. What's happening here? This is what happens when you don't have any money. I was a teenage Frankenstein. He's got Frankenstein's face and a t-shirt and some big old guns. If you've never seen the movie The Number 23, God bless you. I am jealous. It's so bad. It's so bad that there's no way to begin to explain what's so bad about it. This is Jim Carrey attempting to look tough. How do we make him look tough? Let's give him some tattoos and a wife beater. He's a tough guy. He's like a cool, tough guy. Give me a break. Julius Caesar, this is from the 50s. This is a bullet bra. They didn't have bullet bras in Julius Caesar's time. And this. Money does not equal skill, talent, or good pieces. This is gorgeous. Stunning. This is incredibly difficult to do, for the record. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. At least 9 pieces. Probably 11. There's probably another panel in the back, and I suspect that the underpinning is another piece. Are you kidding me, Spirit Halloween? Come on. If you've never seen Mystery Science Theater 3000, watch it. It's hysterical. These 3 guys, 2 of whom are Muppets, kind of, robots, I guess, watch old movies and talk about them, which sounds like it wouldn't be funny, but I'm here to tell you it's like the most hilarious thing you've ever seen in your life. TV show called Ginny and Georgia. I went back and forth about including this, but my beef with it is, that's not how teenagers dress.
Yeah. Which one's the teenager?
These two are teenagers, both women.
No, Georgia, no, the blonde's the mom. The blonde looks like the mom. Yeah. The blonde
Is she the mom?
Yeah, she's the mom.
But
Isn't she like
teen is
20
actually
though?
30.
Oh my God.
The teen is actually 30. In real life?
Well,
Yeah.
this whole thing, it doesn't work. And throughout the series, it just doesn't work. Braveheart is the most unmitigated disaster of costume and historical accuracy of any film I've ever seen. First of all, I mean, I don't even know where to start, y'all. It's so bad. That's not what gauntlets look like, the thing on his arm. That's not what those look like. That's not what his kilt would have looked like. That's not what fabric they would have used. It's the wrong tartan for his people. Tartans are different for different people. The whole thing is garbage. And wait a minute, that was written, produced, directed, and starring the same person. And then we have Bridgerton. I love Bridgerton, full stop. However, if I see one more plastic button, I'm gonna lose my mind. I realize this is a fantasy. So a lot of the fabrics and colors they use in Bridgerton are not from that time period. It's an homage to that time period. There also would not have been people of color in the court. There's a lot in that they're playing with. I get that. But could you not give me a metal button? Plastic buttons were not easily accessible to people until after World War II. And that's because they figured out how to make plastic into very thin pieces to protect warheads. And those came with little bitty pieces that somebody went, I can make a button out of that. So any time before then, no plastic buttons. And one show that actually does that very well is Peaky Blinders. Always metal, bone, cloth buttons. I love it. So here are my favorite costumes in movies. This is The Adventures of Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, which is an Australian film about 3 drag queens who drive across the outback. It won the Oscar that year for Best Costume Design, and it is spectacular. You can see these are all performance outfits for the most part. This is how they look in the normal day-to-day. And if you ever see this movie, this necklace right here has a very interesting story in the film. I can't tell you what it is. Coming to America has some of the best costume design I've ever seen because it's got the family in Africa before they come to Queens. I love the McDowell's restaurant uniforms. Look at the beret with the little pom-pom on it. Aces. That's spectacular. I love it. I love Patrice and Lisa. You can see so much of their personalities in this. And then Lisa's wedding dress at the end. Spoiler alert, the movie's only been out for 40 years. But these gorgeous textures. This is all so very well done. If you've ever seen this movie, the lion is a whole thing. This is beautiful. What is that, velvet? I love it. I also love the flower bearers. I love that their head coverings match their dresses. Mr. Randy Watson, That boy good. Good and terrible. I love this is what they think New Yorkers look like. So they've just thrown it all against the wall. I love that. And these three old dudes who just crack me up. And of course, one of them is Arsenio Hall, one of them is Eddie Murphy, and I'm blanking on the gentleman in the middle's name, but so good. The Fifth Element, so good. And that's probably the only one that's meant to be like a fashion movie. And I very specifically didn't choose like fashion movies, because honestly, a lot of times I find them boring. I don't find this boring. I find this so exciting, so fun. A big part of it is Chris Tucker. His entire embodiment of Ruby Rhod is spectacular. And even Bruce Willis has this kind of nonchalance throughout the whole thing, which is reflected in his completely utilitarian outfit, which is furthermore shown when he's compared to these stewardesses who are in this ridiculous, like, what is going on with these like titty cutouts? Like, it's hysterical. And the little pillbox hats, and they all have their little matching wigs. I love it. And this headpiece on Gary Oldman, what even is that? Is it his hair? Is it a hat? Is it a hat of his hair? I don't know, but I love it. And of course, Leeloo Dallas Multipass with this, whatever this orange thing is, which appears to be like some sort of like really flexible plastic. I love it. It's ridiculous. I absolutely love it. Hero is the most beautifully colored film I have ever seen, with the possible tie for first of What Dreams May Come. It's absolutely gorgeous. Not only with the environment, like this blue and the red, that's hard to do. That's set, that's costume, that's lighting, it's all of it. And the environment. Stunning. Whoop, absolutely stunning. And if you've never seen that one, see that one. I don't remember when that came out. I think like 2003. I may have lied. Don't listen to me. I love Killing Eve. Killing Eve is what, Alias wanted to be, if you ever saw that show. Alias it's about a spy, basically, and a cop. So Sandra Oh is the cop, and I'm blanking on her name, but the character's name is Villanelle, is the spy who's trying to kill her. In Alias, they had Jennifer Garner in all of these ridiculous outfits every time she went on a new mission, and they just looked like garbage. And she was supposed to be like a convincing librarian, a convincing water instructor, and she had plastic wigs on. It was, oh my God. Don't get me wrong, I love that show. I watched the whole thing. But the costumes are not great. This gets it right, because you can still tell it's her. No matter what, like this is 60s, also with cowboy boots, hilarious. I love it. This ridiculous thing. It's ridiculous, but I love it. And obviously the costume designer understands fit. Look how fitted that is. Look how beautiful this is, this one. And understands film and television. That's Annie Hall. And then you have Sandra Oh, who's playing the cop, so more utilitarian, and separates the two of them. And also tells you a lot about Villanelle, that she doesn't change her appearance very much, because she thinks she's so good, she's going to get away with all of it. I won't tell you whether or not she does. I think that's on Netflix right now too, if you want to watch it. Okay, this movie is so bad. It's absolutely dreadful, but the costumes are my absolute favorite of all time. This is a very dreadful movie called The Cell, starring Jennifer Lopez, who could not act her way out of a cracker box. But the costumes are Eiko Ishioka, excuse me. This is that same material as the Dracula, which she also did. This is a throwback to Mother Mary. there's a face piece that goes on this, which I'll show you in the next slide. This is spectacular because it's kind of hard to tell. The cape attaches to the wall. And I tried to find a GIF of it and I couldn't, or GIF, or however you say that word. When he walks down the stairs towards her, this purple on either side pulls in and then folds down and covers the entire staircase. It's gorgeous. It's worth watching just for the costumes. So there's that face piece. This is in a pool, and when he stands up, these scales ripple the water out and back into the pool. So when he steps out, it becomes a tail. It's absolutely incredible. This one kind of looks like the Goodyear Man, but I'm here for it. And then these kind of like structured, roped, embroidered, sequined. That's a lot of work. Not to mention that collar standing up on its own. Fabulous movie. Highly recommend it. Watch it once, enjoy the costumes, and then never watch it again. It's so bad, y'all. It's like, what do you mean he got away? Like, seriously, it's really bad. And lastly, this is my favorite movie of mine. It's called Another Version of You. It's about this man, Diggsy, who is given a key by Eddie George that when he puts it into a door, it opens into another universe. You can always go forward, but you cannot go back. So we shot this film this is in Iceland. This is in Nashville. Eddie's in Nashville, obviously. This is in Mexico. This one, sorry. That one was at what used to be the Crying Wolf, and now I don't know what it is, because Nashville is not the same. We shot in Paris, England, and South America. And the reason that this is my favorite movie of mine is because this lovely young woman here, Brittany Belland, died by suicide several months after we finished the film. So this is the last time that she and I worked together. She was a dear friend. And she says, "I love you," 3 times in Another Version of You. So that's all I have, unless anybody has questions. Thank you. Oh, I mean, how many characters do you have? How many shoot days do you have? Is it like My Dinner with Andre? Is it 2 people sitting at a table talking to each other? Is it a zombie flick where people get eaten alive? I mean, that makes a huge difference. I would say, like, generally, if I like the script and it's a long engagement, I'll do an indie for $300 to $400 a day. My commercial rate is between $8,000 and $1,000 a day. Music video rate is $900 a day. Obviously, like, big budget, I've done like movies for Netflix and stuff like that, and they pay me an obscene amount of money that I wouldn't even tell my mother. Like, I mean, there's some stuff that's like massive, like 911 Nashville or Nashville 911, whatever it is. I will not work on that. I've heard really bad things about the set, and they wanted me to work on it, but I actually, I had surgery this summer to remove an 8.5-pound tumor from my abdomen. Yeah, 0 out of 10. They got it, so that's great, but do not recommend. I named it John Hurt, who's the actor who plays the alien, the alien character who gets the chest burster. The surgeon thought that was really funny. The anesthesiologist did not. Not that kind of doctor. That's all right. But I was not able to work on that. And then once I'm able to work again now, obviously, they've called me a couple of times and wanted to do like 4 overnights that are 15-hour nights in a row. No. I'm too old for that. I don't need the credit. I don't need the experience. I like my bed at night. So, but I do know a lot of people who are working on it in various positions from, not just costume designer and all that, but actors, grips, gaffers, all that stuff, PAs. But something like that, it's interesting because they have more money than God. They're not paying people more money than God. So I try to avoid stuff like that because they know they can find somebody who will work on it because they want to be able to say, I worked on 911 Nashville. As an actor, I actually understand that. As a costume designer, nah, there we go. County rescue is the same thing. Like as a costume designer, same thing. But these are EMT, they're firemen instead of EMTs. It's the same. Sure. And I would rather do projects that stretch my ability, introduce me to new people, get me to read new scripts, than tread over territory I've already tread over. That's all. And I'm not shitting on it. It's just not for me. That's all.
For these productions you work on, are you on set or are you just, here's my guidance, go forth, or doesn't matter?
Yes and. It depends. Usually in a perfect world, there's a costume designer, a wardrobe supervisor. That's the person who goes, here's your costume. Here's your costume. Here's your costume. There is a set costumer. That person stands in front of the monitor and watches for continuity and says, oh, your shirt tail's out. Don't shoot yet. I need to get in. Come here. Let me tuck your shirt in, whatever. And I usually have an assistant so best case scenario on like a film with a reasonable amount of characters, let's say, or a reasonable amount of horror violence, that always changes things. I have 3 people under me. That rarely happens. A lot of times in an indie situation, I am all 4 of those people. I do try to push as much as possible on any project. Well, I'll say on any film. Like I'm doing a commercial for Dollar General next week. I have 1 talent, 1. I can handle that by myself. Like, no big deal. In Treasure Trackers, I did not have an assistant, except for one day when there was a Halloween party at a middle school, and I had 100 kids to get into Halloween costumes. And I had to check the Halloween costumes to make sure they weren't like Spider-Man and stuff like that. Like you can be a witch. There was a kid who was a hot dog. He was amazing. That's the only time I have ever gone up to a cinematographer and been like, look, you get that hot dog in this shot. So that day, and I told the powers that be, I knew it was an indie, I knew what I was getting myself into, but I was like, I am subject to the laws of time and space. I can't do that many by myself. I need, even if it's just that day, I need an assistant. Ideally, I have at least an assistant because I can't watch the monitor and get the actors who came in the second load for the scene we're gonna shoot in an hour. I can't dress them and watch the monitor at the same time. And the work suffers because I can't be in 2 places at once. I'm working on it, guys, but so far, no good. So that's kind of the long answer to your question. People really have like no money. I'll design the costumes and say, here, put them in this, put them in this, put them in this. This is where you can buy it. Don't put this in the washing machine on hot water because you'll melt it, stuff like that. And then I just kind of go, here you go, good luck. I do. I have never known how to pronounce this word, but it's M-O-I-R-E. If you've ever seen like a newscaster in a very like tightly knit herringbone pattern, and it kind of looks like a rainbow, you want to avoid that. And that is because the frame rate of the camera is not catching up with the complications of the fabric. So you have to watch out for that. However, if you're shooting above 4K, that won't happen. So I always have a conversation with the cinematographer, and they're usually pretty surprised when I'm like, hey man, what kind of camera you got? Like, what are we shooting in here, dog? Because I need to know. And they're always like, aren't you the costume designer? Yeah. So yes, deal with that. And the production designer, I'm always like, the production designer and I are always thick as thieves, and the makeup artist for that matter. It's always a drag if the makeup artist is no fun, because we're usually we share space usually, and I'm like, oh, this person's not very nice, and I just wanted to make friends. Womp.
To a degree, people should recognize that you're basically kind of like an extra producer of sorts. But what for, perhaps more smaller teams, for example, say like for either just the producer or like script supervisors or coordinators or whatever, if they wanted to kind of help, ease the work a little bit by trying to keep track of some of that stuff that you mentioned, like between getting shot versus not being shot, like would you recommend that sort of stuff, and what should they look out for specifically when they want to meet with you?
If there's ever something like that, like somebody being shot, that's a great example. I always have a conversation with Scripty. I have a conversation with Scripty regardless on any project, and I say, if you see something I missed, tell me, because I'm gonna screw up. I'm not perfect. I'm really good at this, but I'm not perfect. And if Scripty sees something like, hey, the second button on the shirt was open before, tell me, because I want the piece as a whole to look better, to look as best as it can. And I don't want a mistake that I made that you saw to be something that down the line the audience sees and goes, yeah, that button's off. And like, I hate it when I notice stuff like that in movies. I'm always like, because your suspension of disbelief is just gone. You cannot be precious on a film set, for God's sake. It is not about you. I don't care if you're number one on the call sheet or you're the director. You cannot be the bride at every wedding and the body at every funeral. You have got to work with everybody.
Keeping to the theme of cross department collaborations, do you ever discuss things with like the production sound side about like how you're going to cover up
Yes.
lav mics, if you're going to need to make costumes to kind of accommodate for like how you're going to cover up a mic pack?
Yes.
Or like get like proper like tape or something like that, assuming it's going to go along with the boom mic?
Yes, I do. I have a lot of conversations with them. Like, I really like windbreakers, just as a look for anything between like 1975 and 1990. I love a windbreaker. Sound hates to see me come in holding a windbreaker, and I will go up to them and be like, okay, let's talk about this. Are you gonna kill me if, because it makes that.
You're giving my post-production audio for anxiety just thinking.
Sorry, I'm so sorry. Yes.
No.
I also always tell them if it's sheer, if we're ever working with implied nude, I have to have a lot of conversations with sound about how are we gonna do this? Are we gonna hide mics in the bed? Are you gonna boom it? How are we gonna do this? Also, anytime someone is mic'd up, particularly children or female identifying actors, I am in the room when they are mic'd. And that protects sound so that they can never say anything inappropriate happened, whatever. And I just kind of stand there like, well, I'm here. But sometimes they need help. If it's something complicated or it's something like corseted. Like, I've seen many a sound guy's face just be like, what the fuck do I do with this? So yeah, I have conversations with them as well. And I'm always like, hey man, if you've got an issue with something, let me know. I also talk to them about jewelry. Sometimes jewelry makes sound. Necklaces kind of slide back and forth. Or if they, like my rings on this hand clink together sometimes. So I try to be really cognizant of that because I personally think that sound is the hardest job. So I'm trying to make it easier on you guys.
Bless you.
There's no way in hell I would ever do sound. It's so hard. And not to give you anxiety, but the thing that scares me about sound is if you screw up, the whole ship is going down. It's gonna take everybody out of the film. If I mess up a button, not everybody's gonna notice that. Everybody's gonna notice that sound drops out. I'm a big believer in fix it in pre.
What have you found to be like the most effective way to directors communicate to you what they want?
That's a really great question. A big part of it has to do with the style of the director Some directors are really laissez-faire and are just like, here's the script, knock yourself out. I would say that a lot of direction that I take is in the script. I love a descriptive first character entry. I hate Mike, 30s, walks in. Come on, dude. Like, give me more. Like, give me something. And my discussions with actors have a lot to do with that. But as far as directors are concerned, I'm also kind of spoiled because I don't know if y'all know who Matki Dapp is. He's a director here. He and I have worked together a million times. We have a running joke, because we're also friends, that I am the cat in the filing cabinet of his brain. I know what he wants. I can't explain to you why I know what he wants, but I do. And I've known for 15 years. I just know. If it's a new director, so like, I'll give you an example. And this is a really simple one because it's the commercial I'm doing next week is for Dollar General, and there's one talent. So I talked to the director yesterday. I've never spoken to this director before. And I said, do you want to, because it's a commercial, do you want to incorporate the branding of Dollar General? They use yellow. Their signs are yellow. Do we want to use the yellow? He's like, yes, we do. Great. Are there any colors you don't want to use? Because they're competitors' colors. So like when I work for AT&T, no red. That's Verizon. And we had a conversation about that. Are there any patterns you hate? Are there any overall shapes that you hate? Things like that. It's better to eliminate and then come back later and say, this is what you hate, so this is what I think we should do. That being said, some directors are really particular. And they're like, I want this, I want that, I want it to be this color, I want it to be this fabric. And that conversation usually ends up with me being like, if this is what you want, like I had a director once who wanted me to shop at Banana Republic. That's it. And there were 14 characters. He wanted to give me $500.
For a person?
No, ma'am. I wish. Even that. Their blue jeans are $89. And that's fine. Like, that's fine. But I was like, okay, I need to manage that expectation. And I had a conversation with them, and I was like, this is not possible. Like, the math ain't mathin'. This is not possible. But for the most part, directors, I have the script, and I have conversations with the actors, initial conversations with the actors, and then I talk to the director. And I say to her, this is what I'm thinking. And most of the time, they're like, that sounds great. That's exactly what I was thinking. And they may add some detail here or some detail there, or maybe they really hate chevron patterns. And I said something about chevron patterns. They're like, can we leave the chevron pattern out of that? Like that's how those conversations usually go. And then we have bigger conversations with production designer, hair and makeup, because again, all of those things are visual congruency. They all have to be together. And it's more, in my experience, it's more about the director hiring these people and then trusting their expertise. So when you have that conversation with your team, you go, great, that sounds great. That's why I hired you. Let's do that. Some work I sort of fall ass backwards in, to be honest with you. And I get like random emails and people, like the cow thing. That was from a prototype company, but they make metal and 3D printed prototypes. They don't know how to make stuff out of fabric. And so they Googled something and found me, and that's why when the guy called me, he was like, this is gonna sound a little strange, but. And they could print the 3D cow head that I fitted the mask on, but they didn't know ass from elbow about fabric. I have the good fortune of having a good reputation in town, as well as I work a lot in Knoxville, Louisville, New York, and LA, and I'm grateful for the reputation that I have. And I get recommended for stuff a lot. And it'll be a producer I know, a line producer I know, a director I know, and they say, hey, are you free to do this time? Also, the costume designers in this area, we all know each other or know each other by reputation, and it's very much like the British Bake Off. If I can't do a gig, I will pass it. I've never felt like competitive, you know, I gotta get this job before Loretta gets it. Like, that's not a thing. It's not a thing. It just doesn't work that way. So that I get work from other designers a lot. And a lot of the studios in town prefer me. So if they have a commercial shoot, they call me. And then I'll find, there's like, I know this is like so boomer. There are great groups on Facebook to hire crew. And I get jobs that way. And a lot of times it's because my friend who's a makeup artist saw a post for a costume designer and she tagged me. Like, that happens all the time. And then like I said, sometimes it's just randos.
I aspire to make a movie about, it's like martial arts films. There's lots of stunts and choreography.
Yeah.
And the main character has a really critical piece of attire that's like story, relevant.
Uh-huh.
And I was wondering, before you go into that process, are you thinking about like buying copies of something or having a hero version and a stunt version?
Yes.
How does that play out? Like, what should I know before?
All of the above. You absolutely need a hero version and a stunt version because you cannot take a costume off of someone and put it on somebody else. The one time I walked off of a film set, it is because the producer tried to force me to do that, and I won't do it. It's unhygienic and it's unethical, and I won't do it. So I left. Fuck them. If things happen to the piece, like if the person is shot, you need a third for them to be shot. You need a backup just in case. I mean, if it's that critical to your story, just get an extra one. Is it like, are we talking like a tie or like a collar?
It's like an Olympic jersey. So it'd be
A
like
jersey.
Team USA jersey.
Got it. Yeah, I would buy 4 of them. Just to give you a good example, has everybody seen Die Hard? Bruce Willis has 2 outfits in Die Hard. The one that he shows up to Nakatomi Towers in, and then the wife beater and the khakis and no shoes, bless him. They had 27 copies of that outfit because they shot it out of sequence. So you have to go through and go, okay, he goes through the air vent at this point, and then I don't know, that big Russian guy hits him in the face or whatever, I don't remember. And you got to keep track of all that stuff. Another thing you can do is, if you really don't have the budget, you can clean it every day. And the best way to do that is with vodka in a spray bottle. It sanitizes, and vodka in a spray bottle. Get the cheapest, highest alcohol content vodka you can get, and put it in a spray bottle, spray it. It doesn't stain, except for suede, like spray. Yeah. That's why a lot of times costume designers' trailers smell like a drunk tank, guys. That's what's happening there. Vodka's cheaper.
Vodka.
It's cheaper. You can get a big old handle. It's cheaper.
Vodka.
Yeah. I'm talking about that. I'm not talking, don't go get Grey Goose. I'm talking the handle at the bottom with the red top. That's the one. Yes, that's the guy. That's all I have.